From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big night here on LALATE as major stimulus is revealed. What is it? 2 new stimulus checks, bringing this grand total of categories of checks to 12. Tonight you are introduced to Check L and Check M that join the existing checks. We have the breaking news in the big second half. We'll go over the latest details on the earnings recession. More companies reporting today. And one company that we thought was going to beat missed. Oh boy, the latest details across the board. The biggest week that there is heats up tomorrow as the jobless claims are released Thursday morning, and then Friday. The Jay Powell announcement at Jackson Hole. Wow, what a double whammy. We'll go over what to know, and then we jump over to housing that had 2 new data points today, and they were both misses. What do you need to know across the board? We'll go over the latest details on the housing released today. Plus, we'll be looking back at that inflationary data and what has happened so far in the inflationary data this week. Plus, the guidance out of England. Could we be next? 18% inflation, or are we going the other direction? And a big night as, of course, the major story that we all knew was going to be coming. That major story released this morning was exactly as predicted and was reported and exclusive on this channel since the month of February. Student loan debt forgiveness. Student loan debt forgiveness announced by the President of the United States, and I'll have the latest details on that tonight, but part of it, but you're not going to hear it anywhere else. It's tonight on evenings. Plus, in the big second half, you have my commentary. But the big news is really, of course, this housing data tonight. Very, very weak. And, of course, the other big exciting details. 2 new categories of stimulus checks, L and M. 3 passed in March. 7 passed last week. And now 2 revealed tonight. It's 12 categories of stimulus checks. And it's a lot of money for you. We'll go over all that big money in the big second half. It's a big night with so much happening from the shores of Santa Monica, California, with a recession being analyzed in the second half. The latest details on Jay Powell, and so much across the board. Become a member, Purple Hawk, Pearl Power Casino VIP, and the breaking news starts right now for a big evening. The details you want to see and the details you want to know. Your benefit raise, your inflation, your housing market, your unemployment, your forced stimulus. The latest details start right now, right this evening for an August 24, 2022. And good evening, everybody. The biggest story tonight, of course, is the housing data that was released this morning. 2 data points, and both missed dramatically for August 24, 2022. That is our lead story tonight. Housing came in after a month of bad data last month. Existing home sales, home builder confidence, and new home starts were all down. Then early this week, existing home starts were down and new home starts were down. What was the data that came in today? That was weak across the board. How are you? It's a beautiful night here on Evenings LA. The data that came in tonight also was on 2 fronts, and it was both very, very weak. Home prices fell this month, the biggest decline since 2011. Ouch. Home prices only declined 0.77% compared to the month before, but this is the first monthly decline of home prices in 3 years. This is according to Black Knight, a mortgage software company that released the data today. It's the single biggest drop of prices in a single month since January of 2011, but it's also the first monthly decline in 3 years, but the data gets even worse than that. Housing affordability is the worst it's been in the United States in 30 years. It requires 32.7% of your household income to buy a home with a 20% down payment. That's great news because I have a stimulus check for that in the big second half. It's Check Al. We've been advising for some time that the dynamic between interest rates, inventory, and home prices was untenable. and that affordability perspective at some point would have to give. That's what Andy Wallen, vice president of Black Knight, that released the data today, said. We're now seeing at that point that the data is significant inflection at this point. Further price corrections are likely to happen. Where are the home prices falling dramatically tonight? If you're in the live chat, post where you think it is. And if you posted San Jose, San Francisco, you're right. San Jose fell with the largest drop, and this is in recent months. 10%. It's not year to date, it's in recent months. San Francisco, my goodness, down 7.4%. San Diego, 5.6%. Los Angeles, 4.3%. And Denver, down 4.2%. That was the first data that was released. And of course, home prices still up 14.3% compared to last year. But this is a major drop across the board. Housing recession is clearly underway. Pending home sales was released today as well. This second data point is usually not featured on this channel, but it's a really bad number. This is for homes that are in contract, have not yet sold, like an escrow. They're in escrow, but they have not yet closed. They fell 19.9% compared to the prior year. This is really bad. It has fallen eight consecutive of the 9 last months, and it's according to the highest mortgage payments we've seen in a very long time, up 54% in 1 year, says National Association of Realtors. The comments from Lawrence Yoon, you've seen his comments on this channel for over a week. He's chief economist at Realtors, said the following. We may be close to the bottom of contract signings, but the modest decline reflects the retreat because of mortgage rates. Where are the pending home sales falling the most dramatically? Jump in the live chat if you think you got the answer for this one. Let me give the data, and you'll see if you got it right. Northeast, they fell 1.9% for the month, down 15.4% compared to the year. Midwest, down 2.7%, 13% year to date. South, 1.1%, and down 20% in the year. So you see, it's interesting. Some are down a little bit for the month, but around a lot for the year. And then the West, down 30.1% for the year, and down a little bit then 2.2% for the month. Wow. Incredible. Incredible. Earnings recession, also incredible. We got it wrong. We got it wrong. We were talking last night on this channel that first quarter this year, when those corporate earnings came in from Macy's and Nordstrom's, they beat dramatically. Why? Because you're back to work in the office and you need a nice suit to go with those lobster shorts. You need a nice pair of shoes to go with that San Francisco hairstyle. And you're going to Macy's and Nordstrom's. And that's why their stocks were up dramatically first quarter. Yesterday, Macy's beat. And so we said, obviously, when Nordstrom reports tomorrow, they're going to beat. What happened? They missed. How did they miss? How did we get this one wrong? This is a shocker. Nordstrom's was down 18% today when they projected financial forecasts for the rest of the year downgraded, they announced. They cut financial forecasts for the rest of the year today. Petco fell 7%, reported quarterly earnings and dissipated and missed on top and bottom. Peloton surged 18%, announcing a deal with Amazon and Bed Bath & Beyond, which was Bath and Beyond last week. And early this week actually surged today 14%. Wow, that was incredible, great news. Meantime, when you jump over the air to the cruise airline, to the cruise industry, were they on cruise tonight? Where are they at the beach raving at the available check? No, they're on a beautiful cruise. And whether it's Carnival, Norwegian, or Royal Caribbean, they all surged about 6 to 4% today across the board. Wow. Great, interesting, fascinating detail. This is on the heels of the indication that your benefits are going up a lot. Why? Your benefits are going up a lot. And we'll go over that calculation in just a second. And why the latest details out of England is really fascinating. Plus, we'll be looking forward to that Jackson Hole conference. On Friday, we'll have a prediction of what the Jay Powell comments will say. That about your benefit raise in just 1 second. But now let's go into the major story you were watching and we knew was coming. Student loan debt forgiveness was announced by the President of the United States today. He promises on the campaign trail. He was then the core of advocacy from anyone from Chuck Schumer to Liz Warren, featured on this channel for nearly 2 years. The story early this year, LALATE had the exclusive. Reported that the president was going to do $10,000 for individuals who make $150,000 less. Last night, NBC tried to claim they had the exclusive. Well, we've been reporting that same number for a long time. The White House had announced yesterday the announcement would be coming before August 31st. The announcement came today. And this was the announcement. First, I got it right, but he added 2 twists to it. First, for all individuals who do not have Pell Grants, it's again $10,000 as I reported. It's actually for individuals who make $125,000 or less, so it was not the $150,000, it was $125,000. And for households, families that make $250,000, so it's a married couple, it's $250,000, $10,000 for each individual. So if it's a husband and wife, $10,000 for him, $10,000 for her. If he's the only one who has student loan debts, $10,000 for him. Then, this was a surprise, was the Pell Grant recipients. He gave them a little bit more. So he did $20,000 per person when it's a Pell's grant. And you also have the same income levels, $125,000 single individual, $250,000 married couple. Now, here is really the part of the story that you're not going to see anywhere else. It's whether you have to pay taxes on this. Well, this gets really confusing. The comments today follows my coverage on the subject for a long time. Mark Kranowitz, education expert, mirrored what I've been saying. You need to see a tax preparer for this one because it's really too confusing. We understand that earlier this year that when they passed the American Rescue Plan, Chuck Schumer and Liz Warren got in there. The forgiveness of federal student loan debts is a tax-free event because normally it's a taxable event. I still want you to see a tax preparer for that. Why? Because you still have state, S-T-A-T, taxes to deal with. And what Kranowitz says, it's just confusing. So do not sit back and think you don't have to do anything. Some states automatically conform to federal rules, others do not. Basically saying that some states will say if the federal government forgives it, we'll forgive it. Some states do not. So please, if you are subject to forgiveness tonight, go see a tax preparer. The president already forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, people who went to work in the nonprofit or public sector after graduation, and people who became disabled after graduation. I'll be featuring student loan debts for maybe a few more days on this channel, and that will be the end of that run of that story on this channel. Now let's jump over to your benefits. Your benefits are definitely going up, and they're going up a lot because inflation is so much. This is law. It's not a question mark. It's not speculation. It's law. The only question is how much. Let's go over the introduction to the subject matter. Then we'll go over what's going on with inflation. Then we'll go back to the calculation. The introduction subject matter is the following. Your benefits are going up a lot based upon 3 months of data, July, August, and September. Because inflation's so high, you, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security Rail Benefits, $5,000, well, we'll go over that calculation in just a second. All right, now that you understand the story, let's go over to the amount. Let's go over to why. It's inflation. The Consumer Price Index, which concerns the products you buy, milk and eggs, surged to a whopping 8.5% in the month of May. In the month of June, it went even higher. Ouch, 9.1%. So we were watching to see whether this number was tracking higher in the month of July, released last week. In June, the CPI beat, the PPI beat, and also the retail sales beat. In fact, that's actually July data released last July 13th. It was June data. So we need to see the July data last week. And what happened? On August 20th, last week, the Consumer Price Index, which gauges how much you pay for products, the CPI was released. And it basically, the headline number was a little bit less, 8.5%, a little bit softer on the headline, down half a percentage point, but the component parts were up. Salaries up, rent, which is 30% of the consumer price number, up, and also the big part of that number, which of course is the gasoline, was down. So this is very fascinating. Gasoline down, rent up, salaries up, and also personal goods like milk and eggs up. So what did we understand? We understood that we needed three months of data. Those 3 months of data are starting to manifest themselves. Let's go over the calculation. Your benefits are tied to something called COLA, cost of living adjustment. And that number is determined by the CPI-W. Yes, the number we just went over, a subsection of CPI. For 3 months, only 3 months. July, August, and September. The July number is released August 10th, and then the September number is released August 10th, the September number is released October 10th, and the August number is released September 10th. We need to see the CPI basically staying the same or going up. And so what are we seeing tonight? We're seeing that gasoline is tracking higher. I said it would. It's actually going higher. The Brent crude is tracking higher from 92 last week back up to about 98. We'll see it in the membership newsletter tonight. The rent staying the same. There may be some indication pulling back a little bit, but there's not broadly. The salary staying the same. Milk and eggs staying the same, maybe a little bit of easing. But basically, if all the component parts are still the same or a little bit higher, your benefits are going up a lot. Now, let's go over to how much they're going up and how they'll go up. They're going up based upon those 3 months of data, July, August, and September. Do we need to live out the 3 months? We'll go over that in just a second. You, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Health benefits. How much? Some of you 5,000, some of you more, some of you a little bit less. Same percentage raise? Yes. Direct deposit? Yes, otherwise in the mail. Do we need to live out 3 months of data? Not necessarily, because we have a lot of data to look at. We have the personal consumption expenditure index coming in a few days with the housing data daily, almost daily on this channel. And then we have the CPI and the PPI the next month coming in. The retail sales number was last week, I forgot. That was basically a flat number. So we have a lot of data to rely upon. And you know what, who's the best person to rely upon? You know who the best person is to rely upon? You. If you're in the supermarket, look at the milk and eggs. Same price, then basically inflation's flat. The gasoline go a little bit higher, then inflation's going higher. Salaries, rent, the same. Inflation is about the same. Great news. The Seniors League, when looking at that CPI last week, 8.5% print, said that if it's an 8.5 for 2 more months, then your benefits will go up 10.1%. Do I think that's conservative? What do you think? Jump in the live chat. Conservative or liberal? I think it's conservative. I think it could be more. I think it could be more because when you see the component parts, the same are going higher. And when you see the gasoline definitely going higher, you know, in the fall months, refineries go offline because of hurricanes and natural disasters. And the demand picks up because people are going back to school and travel. Then more demand, less production. Yeah, gasoline's going to track higher. That's why it has. I see the inflation tracking about the same. That is great news for your benefits across the board. Wow. It's a night like this that there is so much going on. Student loan debt forgiveness, inflation, recession. But it's the recession part of the narrative tonight that is really one of the most fascinating ones. And the one that makes you want to sort of shake your head about. It's so important to you, and it's so important to this community, the Purple Power community, because I pride myself on really giving you great analysis, great data, and help empower you to predict things as well. What is the latest on this front? Well, we understood that the president was going to forgive the same amount of student loan debt forgiveness as I had been reporting since the month of February. That happened and it became true today. Yes, on Monday, what became true is what we were reporting and what we were discussing on the channel for the last week. What Wall Street was doing was wrong. The Federal Reserve had said from its governors like Bullard and Bailey and Bowman that the Federal Reserve will continue to interest rates spike starting in September and indefinitely thereafter until they get inflation to a target of 2% across the board. And they would spike likely with the same interest rate spikes they had done in prior meetings of June and July, which was 75 basis points. Federal Reserve governors telling you exactly what they're going to do. Wall Street, up to this Monday, taking that and throwing it away. So the federal governors are not going to do that. They're going to pivot. They're going to change their mind. They're going to stop doing interest rate spikes after September. September may only be 50 basis points. I said that's dangerous talk. That's dangerous talk because if you're not embedding the risk of interest rate spikes for 5 more months, 6 more months, the stock market will crash. And that's what happened on Monday. Stocks went down 600 to 700 points. Dow Jones down 600 to 700 points because they realized they had not embedded the risk into the markets of more interest rate spikes. As I've been reporting, as I reported, there would be a stock market crash. Said it all last weekend. Tuesday, the stocks ended down as well, down 125 points. As Wall Street stock traders ignore the Federal Reserve and do not embed the risks, it's all problematic for you because ultimately, if you don't own stocks, your economy is going to get hurt every time this stock correction happen left and right. And that's why it's so important to join this family, to become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, and Calcino VIP. Go into this video right now and become a member because there is so much in this channel. So much that is delivered to you on a monthly, hourly, and daily basis. Become a member because you'll go over the latest details on the benefit raises you have. You'll go over the latest details on the student loan debt forgiveness, now going into the membership newsletter and updated quarterly towards the end. And yes, now 12 categories of checks. In the big second half, we're going to go over all those big 12 categories of checks. You want to become a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. The breaking news tonight is that 2 new stimulus checks, check L and M, like lots of money, are now law. And they are across the land. We'll be going over those 2 new stimulus checks in the second half of this recording. Plus, we'll be jumping over the breaking details of that student loan debt forgiveness, my commentary, and what you need to know. We'll be going over the first 3 checks, which are check A, B, and C, that pay you over $100,000. Viewers have been getting since the month of March. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. And if you're on benefits, go get it as well. You qualify. Have children, don't have children. Go under this video, become a member. In the big second half, we go over those huge checks. Plus, we go over the newsletter and what we've learned tonight that goes into that newsletter and what also goes into the worksheets. And we'll look at one person's success story over the weekend. 14 more months of checks. Why 14 has become the latest narrative on this channel. A lot of checks. How many? It's now 100 to 200 checks. Over 12 categories of checks, which we'll go over in the big second half. Coming up in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now in the big second half on August 24th, 2022 for the shores of Santa Monica, California. In this big second half, we'll go over those 12 categories of checks. Yes, 12 categories of checks. Lifetime stimulus for your raise of your benefits, and now new stimulus checks. 7 passed by Congress 2 weeks ago, and 2 that became law tonight, bringing the grand total with the 3 that were already with this channel to 12. 12 categories of checks, approximately 100 to 200 checks. Oh boy, it's a big second half, and the breaking news starts right now from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Hope you have a beautiful night across the board. It's exciting. There's a lot going on in tonight's show, if you did not realize. In the month of March, the President of the United States had established 3 executive orders, and it created Check A, B, and C. Last week, Congress passed 7 new categories of checks. That established 10 checks overall. And tonight, you have 2 new checks. They are L, like lots, and M, like money. 12 now categories of checks, and it's not just 12 checks. It's 12 categories of checks. Over 100 to 200 checks. We're going to go over all of them starting right now. back in the month of March, viewers wanted me to find checks for them because ultimately that's what I've been doing since day one. And I found the first three checks: check A, B, and C. There are approximately $100,000 in every U.S. state federal stimulus from the federal government passed by the President of the United States by executive action, and you qualify, single individual, $75,000 less or more. Let's look at the incredible first three checks. Check A, check B, and check C. How do you get these incredible checks? Become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Get these incredible checks across the board. Let's look at them right now. The first check is check A. $6,500 to $12,000 for stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you're on benefits, go get it as well. How do you get it? Go under this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP, and get that incredible check A. That's a check that Spelly got. You're not done there yet. You're going to go get check B. Check B is $15,000 to $80,000. There's a fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. How do you get it? Go under this video, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Step 2, join the channel. Become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. Go down to the membership newsletter, you find check B. There it is. Click the link, go into your state, and go get it. This is the check that one viewer out of Florida got. 80 to 100 checks. It's huge. We're going to go over that check more in a second. How do you get that incredible check? Go into the video, join the channel, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP, and go get check B. There you go. Check B, $80,000. Check A, $12,000. That's $100,000, but you're not done there yet. You're going to go get check C. It is $24,000 to $45,000. It is the residue of third stimulus. It's a monthly stimulus check, and people have been getting it on this channel for 2 years. Go into this video, join the channel, then go down to check C in the membership newsletter. It tells you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. It's for rent, utilities, mortgage, assistance, and more. And the success stories have been robust. This last weekend, one viewer got 14 months of rent. The day before that, another viewer got 14 months of rent. And the days before that, one viewer got 12 months of utilities. These are massive success stories, but we've been doing this on this channel for a very long time. That's gotten people $50 million. Let's look at some of the success stories for check C's. Do you want this for check C? Then go get check C for $20,000 to $30,000 for rent. Mark's brother-in-law got $250,000 over 10 years for SNAP. Nisi, do you want this? Excuse me. Here is the graphic for utilities. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000, but for SNAP, he got $250,000. For combinations, Nisi was at $23,000. She went to $50,000. Mark was at $32,000. Then he went to $166,000 because he went from 32 to then 50. And then he went to 50 to this graphic, 160 to 60. He got 100, went to 100, and then he got check B, 166. Lorraine, who's celebrating her birthday today, if you're on the live chat, wish her happy birthday, went from 105 to 150, and she's still getting checks. And that, my friends, are the first three checks, check A, B, and C. What do you need to do to get these checks? Number one, go into the video. Subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America with 3 broadcasting channels, LA1, LA2, and LA3. Number 2, hit that bell button in the front of the channel. Make sure you have notifications set to all on. And finally, go into this video and join as a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP, to get that incredible membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alerts. And that's how you do it. I'm just so proud of you. I'm especially proud also of Candy Gamez. She is a second double hawk on this family. She became a member overnight to Channel LA2 and Channel LA3. The question is, who is going to be the next double hawk? If you are a double hawk, I'll feature your name live on air. And who will be the first triple hawk, a member of all 3 channels? Maybe it's Candy. If you become a triple member or you become a double member, send me a message on Facebook. I'll give you a shout out on air. You're ready for some more checks? I'm ready for some more checks. Let's go to checks E to K. So here we go. E to K are the stimulus checks that were passed by Congress 2 weekends ago, and they're huge. Here's check E. And where are they? They're all in the membership newsletters. After A, B, and C comes E through K. E is $7,500. F is $4,000. What comes after that? Well, G, 30% off. H, $2,000. I and J are each 8,000, and K is a whopping 14,000. Wow, just incredible, great news. And that's where we were last night. 10 categories of checks, about 100 to 200 checks across those categories. Why? Because A is one check. B is 80 to 100 checks. C, you're going to get your rent or mortgage plus all utilities. Let's say it's 4 utilities. That's 5 checks per month. Average view of the channel is getting 14 months recently. A lot of people, almost everyone's getting 14 months times 5 checks. There you go. And you got at least 12 places to reach out to. And then we had check E through K. That's generally 1 check per category. Well, tonight, get ready because we're not done there yet. 2 new categories of checks. The first one is really 1 item, but the second one is really potentially lots of checks as well. And what are these new checks? They are given the affectionate name on this channel, of course, of a letter. And next in the alphabet is L for lots and M for money. Check L is huge. And these L and M checks are not federal stimulus, but they're in virtually every state. I looked at the map and I kept on clicking and I could not find a state that did not have them. Check L is if you want to go buy a new home. The states are giving on average a $100,000 loan interest-free money. It's incredible. Again, check out is $100,000 loan interest-free money for the purchase of a new home. My goodness, that's exciting. That was what we were speaking about, money for a purchase of a first home in all that federal stimulus over those months. And then check M for money is grants, $4,000 on average. My goodness. What is that for? It's for closing costs. So when you buy a home, you always have closing costs like assessor fees or inspection fees, things like that. And what is this? It's $4,000 on average, and it's a grant. You don't have to repay it back at all. It's based upon the household income at the time of purchase, size, and availability, but obviously home buyers would get that wonderful about $4,000 in closing costs. Every state is slightly different. It's all in the membership newsletter. Now you can have 12 categories of checks. And that's just for today. Let's just check in tomorrow. Let's see what tomorrow is. That's when why you want to become a member. You ain't going to see this anywhere else. You're never going to see anyone who takes the effort to make sure you always have money coming from different sources. 12 categories of checks tonight, 3 in March, 10 by last weekend, 2 tonight. Let's see what happens by the end of the week. Go into this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. You deserve all this money, and it's coming from so many directions. It's a lot to keep track of. And that is why you want to become a member, because why? It's all in the membership newsletter, and it's also all assisting you in the LALATE worksheets. And what are those LALATE worksheets? Well, here they are. The LALATE worksheets are a series of pages in a PDF, which you can print from your cell phone or device, your computer. And the worksheets are around the 3rd line of the newsletter. Around the 3rd line of the newsletter, you click the link. It says open the worksheets, and here we go tonight. What do we know about the first page of the worksheets? First, inflation. Well, a new report out of England this week from Citibank says that England could suffer 18% inflation next January. Wow. Why are we hoping for 2% inflation if England's going the other way? Interesting. I don't know the answer. Indication that inflation has peaked, maybe on the headline number, but not on the component numbers back in the States. Recession. Housing recession, very, very pronounced. National Association of Realtors every night saying we're in a housing recession. And tonight the housing price is down, first time since 2011, and the home contracts falling apart. The home cancellations growing. We featured that yesterday. Labor. Tomorrow the Department of Labor will release the latest unemployment claims number. What do you think? It was 250 last week. It fell from 260, and that's still the second highest number of the year. It went 140, 200, 230. Do you think higher? Do you think lower? It's really hard to gauge. And then the Federal Reserve. This one's easy to gauge. Federal Reserve, I told you they're going to do 75 basis points. September, October, November, December, until they get inflation to 2% and may not even get to 2% by December. Wall Street now had to pivot themselves because they were betting the Federal Reserve was going to do something other than what they actually said. The Federal Reserve never does that. Wall Street was looking for one interest rate by September, and that's it. And now they're getting ready for Jackson Hole on Friday when Jay Powell speaks. The next page of the worksheets is this. A very, very helpful page. Early in the recording, we talked about check A, which is 1 check, check B, which is 80 checks, check C, which is, 100 checks. And now we have check E to K, categories of checks, check L and M. Closing costs, you don't have one cost at closing, you have a lot of costs. So there's a lot of checks on here, and this page is a page for you to keep track of. The only problem is the page was written when there was only 3 checks. Well, now tonight we have 100, 200 checks. You're going to keep track of that, and you're going to be applying for them in more than just 200 places. For check C, for example, you have 12 places to reach out to. One viewer in last weekend, she got 14 months of rent. The day before that, another viewer got 14 months of rent. The day before that, another viewer got 12 months of utilities. Spelly got check A, Spelly got check C. And a viewer out of Florida had filled this out, but she forgot she filled it out. And she got that message 2 weeks ago from the state of Florida. Ma'am, you got approved for check B. Oh, great. For what? Mortgage. Oh, wonderful. 1 month? No, 18 months. 18 months? That's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But she also applied, as she looked on her worksheets, for all her utilities. Let's say it's 4 utilities. 4 utilities for mortgage. That's 18 times 4. That's a lot of money. Yeah, it's over $80,000. That's why it's over 80 checks. That's a lot of money. That's why you want to become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Powercast, VIP. This page has the latest on your student loan, on your benefit raise. So the Seniors League saying, 10.1% based upon an 8.5% CPI last week. I think it's a little conservative. I think it could go more. We'll have more data on that this week. We'll be tracking to see where inflation's falling. Gasoline, the next to last page on the worksheet. Gasoline is interesting. The domestic unleaded is falling still every night in the membership newsletter, down 10 cents every night compared to the night before. But the international price of Brent crude is going up every night, and it's moving really quickly. It was 92 last week. It's already 98. It could be 100 tonight. It's moving straight up. Where do I believe gasoline is going? Higher. Less output, more demand in the fall months. That's what's happening. And finally, student loan debt forgiveness. This will sort of end the run of student loan debt forgiveness on this family. We now know where it is. I'll feature maybe 1 or 2 more nights, so you make sure you don't miss it. It'll be in the membership newsletter in there, so you know exactly what it is. But it's the end of the run for student loan debt forgiveness on this channel. Here is what you need to know about this economy, and then my comments about student loan debt forgiveness. What do you need to know about this economy? We are fully in a recession, 2 negative quarters of GDP growth, negative in both by the economy. Labor market is not particularly strong. 260,000 new jobless claims is the worst of 2022. Yeah, you can look at the unemployment rate, but the labor numbers are very, very bad. Housing market is clearly in a recession. Supply chain has improved. The gasoline did go down, but it ain't staying down. And that ultimately, it's really a half story for the White House to tell you that the economy is doing well. It's not particularly doing well at all. And that's basically to tell you half of the story, which is what the stock traders on Wall Street were trying to do. Don't ever take what the Federal Reserve tells you and throw it away. Federal Reserve was established to give you guidance on their policies. Their policies are to keep inflation under control and also to have maximum employment. It's a dual mandate. And when they give you guidance, this is what I'm thinking of doing next month. This is what I think we're going to do next month. That's actually what you should be betting on, not against, which is what Wall Street really got wrong yesterday and the day before. And with that, let me jump into student loan debt forgiveness. Tonight, today, and potentially all this week long, there's been a lot of commentary on broadcast media about student loan debt forgiveness. And I looked at it and I thought, this is so not appropriate. There's so much commentary when it comes to student loan debt forgiveness when individuals are taking their inherent story of what they experienced and pushing it onto someone else. And that's really not fair. Everyone has a different story when it comes to debts. People incur debts for different reasons. People come out of debts for different reasons. And to say that your story is the only narrative is really wrong. For you to cast doubt or disparage or really just to throw knives or daggers at someone else who has a different story on the student loan debt, it's just wrong. We have to be a much more loving and forgiving society, a much more embracing society to say, I have my situation, you may have your situation. Let's just all discuss them as a family rather than saying your situation is the only situation. Now, let me discuss something that I think is much more important with student loan debt forgiveness, and this is my commentary tonight. It's the price of tuition. If I was president of the United States, this is what I would do. There are private institutions of higher learning, private universities, and then there's public universities, universities that are owned by the states. When a private university is taking federal funds and turning around and asking money that could actually bankrupt the mom and dad for tuition on a daily basis or yearly basis, I don't think that's right. And this is what I would do as president. If a private institution wants federal grants, then a private institution cannot charge tuition rates that are higher than a certain percentage of the median income of the nation. So let's use an example. Let's say the median income of a mom and pop today is $10. The university cannot charge a tuition for a 1 year of $9, which is basically taking $9 out of $10 of the mom and pop's annual income, and then turn around and ask for federal grants to run their business. I just think it's wrong. And what can the federal government do? It cannot regulate a private institution, but they could certainly require that if you want federal monies, you got to charge that tuition to those students, not $9, somewhere down $4 or $2. We should not be bankrupting the mom and dad and then turning around and getting federal grants to do that. It doesn't seem right. States should do the same thing. States should have a conscience. For a state university that turns around and really takes 80% of the median salary of a mom and pop in that state for tuition, that's not right. The state institution is being run by the state government to basically take 80 to 90% of the parent's salary. I'm using that example. I'm not saying it's exactly 80 to 90%. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. And that's why we're at a front of a story tonight. The front of the story tonight is that tuition's too expensive. And then we have a lot of problems dealing with tuition. Tuition was, for one semester, 20 years ago, $5,000. Then it picked up to $20,000. Then it went to $35,000. If it continues to swirl out of control and the federal government continues to give money into the institution, it just makes you wonder what's going on here. That's my commentary tonight. Finally, I want to thank really a real great person. Her name is Candy Gamez, who became a double hawk to LA2 and LA3. If you didn't see it last week and last Sunday, the broadcasting family launched 2 new channels. LA2 has the latest details on your stimulus with one show so far, just one show so far. It's called Stimulus Live. It airs nightly on LA2. The latest details on your stimulus. Then over on LA3 has only one show so far. It's called Wall Street Live and has the latest details on Wall Street. What did Candy do? She became a member of both channels overnight. Our second double hawk, and if you become a double hawk, send me a private message on facebook.com/LA News, and I'll feature you live on air. The question is, who's going to become the first triple hawk? Really exciting. Maybe it'll be Candy. Congratulations to Lorraine, who celebrates her birthday tonight. Meantime, let's look back and understand what is in store for Thursday and Friday. On Thursday, the big news is the unemployment rate, the labor number. The labor number, at least this Thursday, will give us guidance of whether labor is directionally heading downward or just had a reprise last week. Directions are very important. When you look at those unemployment claims, they started in April at 140,000, went straight up. They went straight up week after week since the month of April. And then last week, it went the other direction. 1 week down, a lot of this data is very dependent upon which direction it's going. Housing starts, housing prices, new home starts, down, 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 month after month. It's a trajectory that is very, very manifest. What about unemployment? We'll learn tomorrow for that story. Live on air on Mornings LA at 9 a.m. Friday, Jackson Hole speech by Jay Powell. You know what he's going to say. Consecutive interest rate spikes every month and starting September until we get inflation under control at 2%. What do you need to know about that? Remember, he's not going to get it from 8.5% to 2% in 1 month. Not 2 months, not 3 months, not 4 months. It takes a while. How far has he gotten it in 8 months of this year? 0.5 percentage point. No achievement there. Despite all these interest rate spikes, could we have interest rate spikes this next year? Absolutely. Absolutely, we could have it across the board. You've been doing a great job. Your positivity, your spirit, your effort has been so great. It's important to do what this channel covers in the newsletter. It's important to become a member. It's important to pounce. You don't know where Purple Hawk came from. You don't know where Purple Power came from. You don't know why the word purple on this channel. Let's take it back. In 2020, when this channel launched, I wore a lot of purple, at least one shirt. But when I wore brown, people thought it was purple. When I wore black, people thought it was purple because of the lighting at the time. And they kept on calling me Mr. Purple. When I looked at the situation and said, you can get this money as well. You got the effort, you got the smarts, you have learned to earn on this channel. You have the power. You have the purple power, was what I said one line. And it stuck. You do have the purple power. You have the purple power tonight to go get 12 categories of checks. Then, as money was there and then disappeared overnight, in the case of the EIDL grant, launched on a Tuesday and gone by Thursday. In the case of the PPP gone and launched and gone and launched. I said you have to pounce like a hawk because the money will not be around indefinitely. Certainly in the case of check L and M. M is not going to be around indefinitely. Check L is not going to be around for indefinitely. Can you imagine the average payout for L is $100,000? How long do you think that's going to be around? One broadcast of this channel, it's going to be gone. You're going to wipe it out. Yeah, I just don't see it around a long time because this channel gets a lot of coverage, gets a lot of viewers, a lot of subscribers. These are checks you want to pounce really quickly if they are the checks you want. You don't want to wait. And then Calcino VIP, well, that's a whole salon situation. We'll be learning more about that on LA2. LA2 also feature humor, and LA3 will feature your delicious food. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. I'm so excited for you. Now, one check begat to 3 checks, grew to 10 checks, and tonight, 12 categories of checks. And yes, I will stay on top of it, and you will continue to pounce like the Purple Hawks you are. Pounce, Purple Hawks, get all these sums of money. And if you missed LA2 and LA3, here again are those incredible new channels. Jump over to them throughout the day and become a member there as well. Did you become a member tonight on this channel? Hope you did. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. And get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday. Have a beautiful evening. See you on Evenings LA every night at 5 o'clock. Street and Stimulus at 7. Countdown at 6. Extra at 8. Sunset at 9. The programming continues throughout the night before we return at 4 a.m. with early mornings before we go into mornings countdown at 7 and mornings at 9. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, here are the new LA3 and LA2.